Welcome to West Coast Women Rising. I'm Jeja Flizanes, your co-host today, along with Tani Noriega, founder of VCBW. We're going to have a conversation today that's going to make you uncomfortable, I think, in a good way, because we want to get uncomfortable. Because when you get uncomfortable, you change your comfort level and you can allow in more and you break through stuff and you transform and you grow. And if you've been ever in front of Tani in VCBW, she talks about taking on your shit, like dealing with your stuff, and maybe you don't even know what that means. And if you aren't a part of ECBW and you live somewhere else in the universe, well, welcome, because we're going to rock your world today with a little bit of personal talk and depth that intertwines with business so we can actually grow in all ways when we're together in community. So welcome, Tani.
Hello, I am definitely ready. Let's dive into some depth today.
Yeah. Our relationship started that I approached you. I said, let's do a podcast. Didn't want to do a podcast. You didn't want to do a podcast. Here we are. And then here we are having a podcast, and it's more fun than you thought it would be. We're having great conversations. We're getting in the middle of things. And, somewhere along the line, there's feedback, there's gossip, there's things flying through the air. And you approach me. Again, we're new. We met last year. We've spent a significant amount of time together since doing the podcast, but prior to that, it's little bits here and there. And you approached me with something about he said, she said, all this stuff, and here we are. We're diving into a hard conversation. And do you want to take off and say anything about that, or I just use that as an
Yeah,
example?
let's drop some of the tea for them to catch them up to speed. What are we talking about? So I God, it has been a couple of weeks now since this convo, and I had a community member after one of the in-person events come up, and they had some concerns, and they're like, hey, I heard that you sold the business. And I was like, whoa, sold the business? No. And it was a game of telephone. Some person said this, it translated here. And she was bringing the concern because she was like, well, I want to be included in that information. I said, absolutely, I'll totally let everybody know if something ever like that happened, but no, I'm here for the win. It's nothing like that happened. um but because of her concern about that, it came up that that JJ had said that she was going to buy the business potentially, or she had bought in the business. And so once I got that communication, I'm my own person. I get nervous communicating stuff like that. And so, I go through like my whole process, like, how do I communicate this? I knew JJ was out, you were in Dallas for the
Yep.
podcast conference. So I'm trying to be respectful of that, but I'm also definitely like, something happens, I want to talk it out, work it out, let's just get to the solution. And so I end up like sending JJ a message like, hey, I just want to prep you ahead of time, like, here's what I want to tell you, because I don't want to catch anyone off guard. And you were quick, like, because I laid out, here's the things, uh did you say this? And then there was about the tech issues stuff, where I kind of was just expressing, because JJ's personality, again, we're new in relationship, and she is about her business. Get ready, let's go, utilize our time. And so I had kind of expressed to her, it's coming off a little strong. And so she read the text message, she calls me, we end up having a conversation. And I don't know, like, you can also share your perspective, but my voice was shaking, my hands were shaking, I was nervous, I didn't know how it was gonna land. And so it ended up just kind of being like, no, I didn't say that. I was excited about, doing the podcast with the community. And I love that. I'm like, absolutely. Share a way that you're so excited. You're going to take over with the podcast. Those are definitely the kinds of things that I want you to be saying as we're working together. And or let me pause there. What do you think, JJ? Am I
I just
missing
pulled
anything?
up the text. I just pulled up the text because
Oh,
I wanted to
pulled
see
out
what
the text. Yeah.
why because I wanted to see what the word was that triggered me. Well, first it was buying the business or purchased VCBW. And I'm like, yeah, I never said that. I think what I said as I kind of came into the environment, and I've been in business for, let's first start off with, I've been in business for 24 years. Okay. I have worked for myself for 24 years in California having a business. And as far as I can see, there's a lot of very new people at BCBW from 3 years. I know some are 10. I talked to some people today that are 10, right? 21 years and a lot of iterations of that. And moving from New York City to California, I'm a seasoned coach and business owner in many different ways. And obviously, I do what I do. So I talk, I speak, I write, I do podcasts. I have no problem voicing my opinion. There are no blocks in my throat chakra. Okay. And so when you so when you brought that to me and that I thought, okay, and I kind of could trace back how it happened. And I remembered what I said. And it was like, yeah, because here's what happens. I had to learn on my show from a psychic who had come on several times and written a couple books, and he has the Old Souls guidebook. It's Ainsley McLeod. So Ainsley has been on my show several times, and my other show, and we were talking about like types and your sort of your soul type, and we have like soul ages and soul types. And so when we got to the soul types, he was like, "Oh, well, you're a leader, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh," and Tawny, literally, that wasn't that long ago. I say it was before I moved in here, so let's say it was 5 or 6 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago, somebody, a guest on my show, reflected back to me that I had a strong leader, like archetype. And I'm like, and that was like news to me. I'm like, what? How was that news to me? How am I only figuring this out now? I don't know, because I never gave myself permission to be that. And because most people, especially family members or spouses back in the day, don't like that. That feels abrasive. That feels strong. To some people, it feels cocky. It feels condescending. It feels arrogant. Whatever you want to judge it as, I did not associate with it. But when he said that to me, I went, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense, because my habits my whole life has been to I'll come into something. I'm a great follower as long as there's a good leader. And if there's not a good leader, I will take over, not because I want to, it just happens. Every group I've ever been in, it becomes this again, if there's not good leadership. I want to follow. Please, I want to follow somebody to lead me, right? It's exhausting when you're doing it all yourself all the time. And I know you know that. So the leader in me was like, and I have no time to do what you do. Like, so the fact that it was, so I think I said something like taking over, but it wasn't taking over from you. It was more of a, because there's such like, when we look at the span of who I think and who I've met, and I have only met a handful of people at both of the meetings, a lot of people were shy and they were timid and they don't speak up quite as fast and they're not as confident about their business because it's new and they don't know how to market or whatever, right? And everyone does their business differently. Some people are going to be quiet and they're going to be more of a teacher mothering way. Not everyone has to be the same and be loud and whatever, and that's fine. And so I said that to somebody and it made it back to you like I was going to buy the business, which was totally inaccurate. I never said anything of the kind. So I was excited about the podcast. I was excited about the opportunity that I feel I have with people because of my seasoned business experience, as well as, and I didn't even come into this, I think I told you, I didn't even come into this business or to your business with any financial business ideas. I literally joined BCBW because I moved to Ojai 4 years ago and I don't know a lot of people. And I wanted to talk with women who have businesses. I'm like, oh, there's some people talking about who they have businesses. Well, I want to hang out with those people. And that's why I joined. But I allowed like everything to kind of unfold the way that it naturally does. And how it naturally does is I end up moving into some kind of leadership role because it's who I am. So when you came to me with the first part of the question about did I say I bought the business, which I didn't, I then remembered what I said, which was like kind of the energy of I'm taking over, but not in an energy of like I'm really taking over, like I'm coming in, I'm moving Tawny out, I'm buying her out, I'm redoing. Like no, like nowhere near that. I have no time for that. I have no desire for that. You are a great leader. And the second part of the text. Okay, so it was strong, that my energy was a bit strong. Okay, so that was the word. And
Bit
actually that was
strong.
a bit strong. Okay, here's what I know about myself. And so I said to you, I said, because I know who I am. This is what I do for a living. I help people love who they are. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have wounds. I have wounds. We all have wounds, okay? One of my core wounds is being devalued. So when someone doesn't value my strength, then I'll get triggered. But I didn't do my normal, because this is what I do for a living. I help rewire core wound patterns. I did not have I didn't fight with you. I didn't quit. I didn't run away. I didn't avoid. I took a deep breath, Remember that I love myself. Remember that I'm not for everybody. And everyone who's listening to this or watching this, you're not for everyone either. I don't care how fucking nice you are. I don't care if you fawn over everyone you meet. Not everyone's going to like you. And I've said this on almost half of these podcasts. 10% of people will love you no matter what you do. They will be your fans for life. And 10% will hate you, will not like you. They will be irritated by you no matter what you do because you remind them of your mother or of an ex sister in law or something. Like it won't even be about you, but they will not like you. You cannot change their mind. Do not spend time trying to change their mind. So when you said strong, I thought, okay, well, here we go. All right, is this going to be a place where I'm not valued? And how am I going to deal with that? So I said to you before throwing in the towel and saying, okay, forget it, fuck it, let's just quit the whole thing. I'll take this and I'll go to the right with it and you can go to the left with this, right? I said, first I said the first thing and then I said, okay, so I understand about the strong and about the, because here's the thing, it's for some of you that are listening to this who've been on the show or people that might come on the show later. If I was to tell you that we want to invite you to a place where you're going to have an opportunity to speak and there's going to be 10,000 people in the audience, would you prepare for that interview? Would you do your homework? Would you look nice? Would you get your mic set up? Would you act as if it's a really important thing? You don't know that 10,000 people aren't listening to this. You don't know that 100,000 people aren't listening to this. So when people come to the table and haven't watched the video that we asked them to watch to prepare to get the most out of the time together, when there's not good lighting, we're fumbling with the microphone, we're not quite sure what we're doing, there's background noise. And again, it's me not knowing that I have not educated all of you yet on the importance of showing up professionally and taking it seriously. So maybe that got me a little devalued. Maybe I wanted to hurry up and get to the good of the, instead of spending 15 minutes trying to figure out your mic, which is totally fine. Sometimes that has to happen. But here's who I'm not. I'm direct. I've got 3 Sag planets. I'm a Pisces, so I feel deeply. But I want to get to the point and then move on. And then when we get into the heart of the conversation, we can get into the nuances and the feelings and how did that feel for you? And we can go deeper. I'm all about going deep. But I'm not going to be like, and I love you, Tawny. Hey girl, how you doing? Okay, you look great today. What's going on? How are we going to do this? Like, that's not me. It's not me. I'm not doing it. So I had to say to you, look, it's kind of my personality. And if you want me to smooth it over, and I know they know you and they don't know me, if you want me to smooth it over, that's fine. Let's help me figure out how we can either do a video or maybe make some kind of disclaimer. I'm okay if people don't like me. I'm totally fine with that. But I'm not willing to change my personality to please anybody or to walk on eggshells for people who either don't like me, don't value what I'm doing, or can't handle the directness. I'm not willing to do that. And that's what I said to you. But I had to take a breath and really think about it. And because a lot of people might say, oh God, okay, well, what should I do? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. And I'm not changing who I am. So how do we help me, Tawny, fix this? Help me figure out how to do this.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the cool part about, like, the safe communication is, it also gave me an opportunity to kind of clarify, and like, because we're talking, I'm like, well, I don't want you to change. Like, I don't, no, actually, yeah, I don't want you to be something that you're not. But maybe we can ease you into the community so everybody knows that, very much different personalities, but that's why it works really well. And I think, I always like to take the case that everybody serves as a mirror for me, right? So I also look at, yeah, I don't want to dim your light. I don't want you to shift and change. So it also allows me to shift my perspective and, like, dude, once you were telling me that, like, and what you just said about, how you show up, I'm like, yeah, I let a lot of shit slide, and that's just me and my maturity of learning how to navigate all this stuff and people. So there's, I get to take a step back and look at what you're saying and what you're bringing to the table to learn. Because, like, yeah, why are we wasting this much time when you should be showing up ready to go? But sometimes I'm not, I haven't had the balls to say that yet. So you're modeling something. um, and I tell JJ a lot in the back end, she gives me a different kind of peace and confidence. And so I think that's the beauty of a healthy communication and partnership and, like, understanding and growing together. Instead of that kill off. Oh, you pissed me off, you triggered me, I feel weird, I'm not going to communicate, I'm done. Like, that's so boring. That is such a boring way, because everybody knows how that turns out. And I'm more interested in What happens if you actually say the truth, say the thing that needs to be said in a kind way, tried it in a kind way, in a healthy way, and it actually is received by the other the same way so that you can communicate and navigate things?
Well, I want to give you kudos because the way that you approached it was really good. You wrote the text because you wanted me to be able to have time with it before I responded. Of course, I was taking no time because I was like, no, 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 we're dealing with this right now. Luckily, I was in between sessions. And even if I wasn't, I probably would have gotten out of the session just to deal with it because this is important to me. And because I'm also assessing, and it's again, I say this with the most amount of love for everyone who's listening. If I'm not for you, it's okay. I understand. And I don't need to stick around where I'm not valued. I'm about attracting the right people who are attracted to the right message. Today, I started, as of the recording of this, I started my 14-day manifestation challenge. And I have a new client who is part of my Becoming Magnetic course. She's coming to my live event in October. And she came from another expert who's actually coming to my event and who's been on my show several times. And she's been so like, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And oh, I just started listening to you yesterday. And oh my God, yes, this is exactly what I need to hear. And that's what I want for everyone. I want you to be so clear in who you are that when the right people find you, it's like, oh, that's why. Yeah, that's why I keep doing what I'm doing, because the right people need to hear it in that way. Not everybody does, and not everyone's going to like it, and that's okay. But when you're dealing in business, and especially with women, and I'm going to say this, I teach people how to love themselves and respect themselves and understand their wounds and all the things. Like, you become a master at yourself. And a lot of women come in going, I didn't have women friends because I wasn't taught to support women. I was taught to compete with women. But people don't know why. They don't know why you're supposed to compete with women. Like, what am I competing for? And because we don't break down, like, what are my needs and what's going on with me? And you could have very easily said, you know what, this isn't working out. You're a little abrasive for people and they don't like you. And so I think we have to part ways. You could have absolutely come to the table with that. Or you could have not said anything, been uncomfortable, and then just held on to that, which would have been uncomfortable for you. Eventually, you probably would have told me and let it out. But you did a really good job of communicating that, which most people don't. They don't communicate at all. They get triggered and they run. They get triggered or they freeze. They get triggered or they fight. And you took a deep breath and thought, okay, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to bring it up. And because I'm protecting my community, and they are your community, let's be clear. They are your community. They are not my community. I am a part of your community. This is our podcast. And so whoever is part of this community will be part of my community. If you continue listening and don't just listen for a little while until you've heard your own episode and then you leave, or people that don't know you and don't know me from all over the world. My people who listen to my show are going to be introduced to this show too. And so we might have crossover listeners that listen to all my shows. And this will be one of them. So those will be my people. But it's not about mine versus yours. It's what are we putting out into the world? And I think that when it becomes a group of women, there's a power that is untapped in women of collaboration, of support, of knowing who you are. And at the same time, we live in a world where most people aren't doing their work. They're not doing their work. They don't even know what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. They're like, what do you mean I should know myself?
Well, you talk about it at almost every event that I see you at, and I know some new people have no idea what that means.
Yeah, and what do I mean by that? Doing your inner work. And that's just my languaging. But what it really boils down to is you need to know yourself. You need to love yourself, the good and the bad, all the contrasts. And then like be a good human. I don't know, whatever that looks like. Because it's, all of the modalities I've tried, trying to get out of my own pain and suffering, doesn't matter what modality I did, it was all about you still got to be with yourself. You have to tend to the wounds and the things you've experienced that are holding you back. And, you know, so, Ventura County business women, it's not like I have some framework like follow these steps and you will find the enlightened path. Like, no, don't have that. But what I do have is all of these women that they're like, okay, I know I've been through some things. I have a business. And if you don't know, business is very personal. It's a very personal journey. So you start a business, you're gonna bring up all of your stuff. The hardships, the things that are keeping you stuck, stagnant in survival mode, that all comes up to the surface. Hence why we got to look at the personal and the professional because they go hand in hand together. Um, yeah. Where was that train of thought going?
Well, let me step right in there, the personal and the professional, because I was on my show
Mm,
trying to really beat that out to people because I also look at it, it's the center of everything. We all have core
mhm.
wounds. We all have core
Yeah.
wounds. Those core wounds rule your life. They create the
Yes.
belief systems from which you then move forward and interpret your entire life. And if you don't know what they are, you're going to have a hard time trying to heal them because you're going to go from circumstance to circumstance. Well, really, the root of it's the same thing showing up in a different costume on a different day and a different location. So when we're looking at like what kind of work, and there's all kinds of work you can be doing. Obviously, there's multiple things. Why don't you list a few things, Tawny, that you would recommend or that you've done for yourself?
Um, Journaling, meditating, walking, painting. I guess, you know what, I don't want to say any of that. Here's what I would really say is take all of the how to and just shut up, go and listen to yourself. Just be quiet. Get off the phone, go away from, you don't even have to do anything. Just literally, hi, how do I feel on the insides? Like your thoughts will tell you where you're at. And I think if people just make time for that every day, yeah, that will do a whole lot for you, tending to yourself.
Well, I think you have a natural ability to observe yourself. You do have a Libra moon, so the benefit of that as a Leo with a
Mm,
Libra moon is that while you're front and center and this is this is your pride, right? You're the lion and this
mm-hmm,
is your pride, so there's a protection of that. But you also have the ability to not get attached and to see things from both sides. That's the beauty of a Libra moon is being able to say, "Oh, well, I can see this side and I can see that side." And I'm not and
mm,
then, it can make you hard to make decisions sometimes in life because you can't choose a side, but when it comes to peacemaking, you're very good at that. That is a natural peacemaker, setup is having a Libra moon. I'll ever have a Sag moon, which that's again, I'm gonna take the bow and arrow and dart right through your brain and right through your heart. And I don't care if it hurts because it's the truth. And I do care if it hurts, but it's the to me truth and freedom are higher on the art hierarchy, if you will, than your emotions, because your emotions are only based on what your interpretation is. So if you change your interpretation, you change your emotions. And
yeah.
so I would like to just share one tool that I share all the time on all my groups and on every show I've ever been interviewed on, because I find that some women, again, everyone's a little bit different on how they process their emotions. Some people are so feeling that they can't get out of their own way and they have nowhere idea where to start. And some people just need the structure and the clarity of the understanding. So this work comes from Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, who wrote Nonviolent Communication, and it's a feelings and needs list. And I'm holding up on a video the piece of paper with the feelings and needs list, which you can download for free at jjflizanes.com/feelings list. I'll put in the show notes. Don't worry. And when you print it, I want you to print 10 copies. I want one in your purse. I want one in your kitchen. I want one in your car. I want one at your desk. I want one in the bathroom. I want one on the refrigerator. I want one anywhere you deal with people. Because what happens is, most of the time, if you haven't been taught to be conscious and take responsibility for your feelings, you're always in reaction mode. You're just kind of, you could be a happy-go-lucky person, and then all of a sudden you get triggered, don't even know it, and now you're upset, you don't know why. When we are having a negative emotion, what it means is that you have a need that's not being met. Now, I'm not going to say it's anyone else's responsibility except yours to get your need met, but generally, if you have high anxiety, if you don't feel safe, this is a great place to start every day. You just print this sheet, you go to the needs section because there's 100 different feeling words on here. I'll tell you the three-step process in a second, but what's more important is the needs because we are not taught that we have needs. And we are taught that need means needy or weak or dependent or stupid. No, no, no. These are 86 basic human needs from acknowledgement, clarity, space, creativity, closeness, air, hydration, rest, safety, shelter, fun. Okay, these are some of the needs. And so what I would love all of you who are listening to this to do, if this is new for you, my audience is gonna be like, yeah, I heard this a million times. You're gonna print this piece of paper, you're gonna look at this need list, and you're gonna circle every need that is not currently being met in your life that's important to you. So like beauty's on here. If someone doesn't care about beauty, don't circle it. Just look and say, if this is this need not being met in my life? Okay, so that would give you a framework of, oh, here's what's going on for me. I'm walking around and I'm not getting any of these needs met. No wonder I feel so vulnerable and agitated and irritated and victimy. All right. So the three-step process quickly is number one, when you are triggered with a specific situation, you're going to ask yourself how you feel and you get real specific about how you feel because there's a big difference between irritated and rage. Yes? Okay. If I said to you, I'm irritated, you'd be like, oh, what's going on? If I said I'm in rage, you probably take a step back. She's in rage. She could start swinging at any time. So you have to understand the nuance and the energy and the frequency of the emotion that you're having. So you figure out what you're feeling. Step two, what need is not being met that's causing that feeling. When I was in Dallas, so and I told you I was tender because that was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday that you messaged me. Well, Monday, I saw a friend of mine, a fellow podcaster who I hadn't seen. She lived in LA, she moved to Nashville, she was in Florida, she was in Mexico. Now she's back in LA. Haven't seen her since she's been back. I see her in Dallas. I see her on Instagram floating around with people that I know and she's all over the place and I'm jealous. I'm feeling like okay, I'm left out. And so I'm a little mad at her. So she gets to the event and we were texting when she was on the plane and she's like, okay, grab me a glass of wine, whatever. She shows up and she's like, oh my God, it's so nice to see you. I miss you. And I went, well, I'm mad at you. Now, the minute I said mad, I started crying. I wasn't really mad, just wanted to own my shit for a minute. I'm like, I want to be mad at you, but really I'm sad. I'm sad because I don't feel like you value me because you live. She's like, well, you're like 2 hours away now. Okay, granted, yes, I'm not as close anymore. I live in Ohio, but I was sad, and we talked about this on her podcast because I was owning. I'm like, look, okay, so I'm not really mad, but literally, if I'm crying, you can forget what I'm saying. Just look at my body language. I'm crying right now. I'm sad. I miss you. I feel like you don't want to hang out with me. And then she said, oh, you know the people you keep seeing with on Instagram, they pay me. I was like, oh, okay. So I felt a little bit better. But I started that conversation and wanting to express because here's my need. My need is for connection. My need is for clarity. My need was to be seen and heard. And my need was for companionship in a way. And I missed her and I wanted to tell her that. So I had a need and I communicated it, maybe not in the best way. And maybe I wouldn't have said mad had I not had 2 glasses of wine. But nonetheless, when you're going to say something to someone. So, and Tawny, you did a great job. You really laid it out really well. But I want to give another option for what you could have said without explaining the whole thing. You could have said to me, and it would have landed the same way. It doesn't matter. Um, yeah, I'm feeling concerned. I'm a little bit nervous because there's some things flying around, and I'm not sure what to do about it, and I need some clarity. Could you help me out? Right? And here's what's going on, right? And then it's about me helping you get clarity versus me being a bad person who is now devalued and too strong for the community. So anyway, there's a way to do this. This can help untangle messy emotions. This can help with your communication when you come from an I place. And the one thing I didn't say that I'll leave it with this and then we can move on. So again, question number one, what am I feeling? Question number two, what need is not being met? That's creating the feeling. Question three, what strategies, more than one, what strategies can I take to get that need met? And here's the most important part. Please sear this in your brain. I'll put it on repeat. That don't require anyone else to be different. What strategies can I take to get this need met that do not require anyone else to be different? We take ourselves out of victim when we stop saying, I need you to behave differently. I need you to behave differently to please me. You've disappointed me. That is the biggest victim conversation ever. Disappointed means you did not behave in a way that pleases me. Well, guess what? People are going to be who they are and they're going to do what pleases them first. They are not going to do what pleases you first. So we have to come out of that. And I think when it comes to, women and a lot of women together with a lot of emotions and a lot of bad habits from our mothers of overgiving, of not valuing ourselves, of not speaking up for ourselves, of pretending to be happy when we're not, and all that other bullshit, right? Then that's when it gets scary. And that's the only knee jerk I had. So, lots of tools out there. I do agree with you. People need to listen to what's going on inside of you. But if you need some structure to help figure out what to do about it, this needs and feelings, if you do nothing else for the rest of your life, if you master this, you master how to listen to someone else, what's really going on for them, as well as master your own internal world, you'll be golden. You don't even need anything else if you can master that.
Yeah, and that's so great because, and that's kind of what I always am trying to point to for my own self first and foremost, because that's really what the Ventura County businesswoman is kind of just like this big mirror of me in certain ways. Um, you know, Given what I was born into, the things that I've had to overcome, I've had this like my first half of life was just so immersed in my pain and suffering, the mid my 20s were like, all right, I'm gonna figure out how to heal from it and transform. I just celebrated my 32nd birthday. And now I'm in this space of like integrating, right? And so for me, I'm kind of very much, I'm still learning. I don't know shit. Um, but for where I'm at, I'm looking at it like, dude, everybody has pain and trauma. Everybody's got something that hurts their heart and has that void, and kind of makes them act out in certain ways, right? And so with me knowing my level, or not my level, but what I've experienced, hearing the women in our community, I mean, their stories of what they've had to navigate, and just, other people that I've met in the world, right? Um, the way I look at it is I want to put myself in a position that I'm tending to my inner work. I'm knowing who I am. I'm knowing what hurts. I know what feels good. And I'm learning, like you're pointing to with that sheet, is, having the strategies to take control of who's leading the show. And kind of what I always look at is most people, how you're saying, don't know which part of them is leading the show. Most of it is they create businesses or their lives based on other people's expectations or what they think they should do. Most of them don't know what they actually want and don't want, or what they like or do like. So then most of the businesses are not set up actual in alignment for longevity or to hold, major wealth and success. And so that's why I start where just know yourself, because then when you show up into community, and we were talking about this, is people are bringing their stuff into community. So it's not like they're most authentic, self-expressed, confident, freaking I'm tapped in, tuned in, let me share. It's like women that, they're like, well, I think it's possible. Maybe I could if I just, and I want to challenge that conversation. And so this is why you and I got to have this episode today, because it's pointing to you have different convos when you tune into yourself. Because I'm a human, so I got triggers and trauma and all of that jazz, right? Now imagine what kind of convos I would be having if I didn't tend to those and I didn't have strategies to deal with my automatic survival mechanisms. Um, so yeah.
Well, I think you're doing a great job, and some of it comes really easily, it seems like to you. And again, I just wanted to offer the exercise for people that are a little bit more maybe mental about it or haven't really. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people don't know what they feel. If you ask them, well, what are you feeling? They can't identify it. They can't tell you where it lives in their body. They can't tell you what the emotional word is. Most of us have a vocabulary of 5 words: happy, sad, mad, angry, like depressed, worried. Like that's about it. That's the extent of our, and there's 100 different feeling words on this list. So, learning about yourself is going to, I agree with you 100%, is going to help you decide which direction your business goes and how it goes and and make it sustainable. Because if it's created to just heal a wound, which is totally fine, by the way, I have healed my wounds through doing my podcast because I've created a situation where I'm attracting people who actually give a shit about having the conversations I want to have about law of attraction or personal work or diving deep or mushroom journeys or taking responsibility for yourself or expanding and upper limiting and what that looks like when you hit an upper limit and how do you go through that. And like I'm having those conversations because it was important to me, but I had to first start off by giving myself permission to put it out there and not care what people say in response. Because in order, a lot of people don't let themselves grow because they're afraid of the rejection that they think they're going to get, or the feedback, the criticism. And I'm sure I'm going to get on this show. There's going to be like, yeah, she's a little too pushy. Totally fine. Totally fine. Love you too. When I first started having really famous guests on my show, I would start to get feedback. This is actually a funny. I don't know if I talked to you about this already on the show or not. Dr. Terry Real's written a bunch of books, and he's a famous psychologist. And we did an inner child episode. It was his second time on the show. And at the time, it was my old YouTube channel. YouTube and I have had a little disagreement, so I've been kicked off of YouTube for now with the old channel because I believe in medical freedom. And so I've had to start a new YouTube channel. However, if you're looking for video, please follow me on Rumble. I am now a new fan, huge fan of Rumble for medical freedom conversations. So looking at Dr. Terry Real, we did this conversation, and somebody who doesn't know me, see, people on my podcast, they want to hear from me. That's why they keep listening. But someone, when you put on YouTube and you put someone famous, their name on there, they're not looking for me. They don't know me. They don't care about me. They want to listen to Terry Real. So they come on, and this person, about 13 minutes in, wrote a review on YouTube, wrote a comment and said, "Who is this woman? She is so full of herself. How does she think we care about? She's getting a personal session all to herself, and we don't really care about what's going on with her," or whatever she said. I'm paraphrasing. And then 30 minutes later, after that, about 5 minutes before the show ends, she writes another, "Oh my God, thank you so much for being so vulnerable. It was such a great interview. I can't wait to buy his book. I really appreciate the conversation that you two had." Same person, right? Irritated with me in the beginning because and I get it. So then I started saying on my podcast, "Hey, welcome everyone to the show. If, Terry Real, Bruce Lipton, Anita Morjani, whoever I have on the show, where can they find more of you if they don't like me?" And I would say at the beginning, so, "Hey guys, this is my show. If you don't like me, that's totally cool. Hey, person I'm interviewing, where can they find more just about you?" Because I've had people say to me, "Can you not talk as much?" I said, "No, this is my show. That person has a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, a website. They have videos. Go find them. I'm not going to change what I'm doing because you, who I don't know, who doesn't pay me anything, who's not my client, not my friend, not my advisor, wants me to shut up. Go find somebody else." So, but it's a lesson in when you put yourself out there and you get feedback like that, it forces you to like go, "Well, how do I feel about that? Are they right? Should I do that? Is that true? Does that resonate? Do I believe that? Or is that just someone who's looking to get upset?" Like, I literally know that people who are looking for all these famous people don't know who I am. I'm like, "I totally get it. You don't like me. I'm okay with that." That's why I said in the beginning, so we can take care of it right away because I'm going to talk.
Yeah, it's my heart's beating fast right now in what you're saying. And this has happened before, and why I always say like the confidence. Um as much as as much as it might come off strong, like I'm looking at you and like literally my heart like fuck, I wish I was like you. And the reason I'm saying that is like as much as I think people fear other people owning their shit, once you get past your own stuff, like, I have a thing about visibility, which some people think might be funny because everyone thinks, wow, you're so great. I get nervous every time. Every time I have to get in front of people, my heart is beating, my hands are sweaty. I feel like I'm gonna throw up and pass out. Because I do not want to be rejected. I do not want to be abandoned. I don't want to be misunderstood. And that's what my brain tells me is going to happen every time, right? Um, and so, I hold back in my personal life, in my professional life sometimes because I don't want to upset. I don't want to hurt somebody's feeling. I don't want to say something and they don't understand, and I don't want to really actually fucking explain myself, right? And so, when you're sharing yourself, there's something so cool about, yeah, like fuck it, dude. Like, who cares if you rub people the wrong way when you're based in your truth? And so I'm like, I know I'm gonna get there. I know because you're in my fucking realm. Like, there's no way I can't shift because you're in my mirror, and that's how I look at people. So even for those that are listening in this conversation, um, I'm moving through the spaces of how to keep speaking up, even when my voice is shaky and I'm uncomfortable. How do I keep standing for what I want and what I need, even if, I got people in my life, they don't agree with who I am and what I'm doing either. And so, regardless, still having to be somebody, it's like, dude, okay, great, love you, peace and love, totally understand, and still honor who I am and what I'm here to do. And so, yeah, you're making my heart beat. I hope it's, others, but because I know a lot of people do that. They just suppress, silence, give up because they don't have somebody sitting in their corner and be like, come on, speak up, do it, go for it.
I know you haven't experienced me in a like a coaching situation or in a like I'm teaching you something like for you specifically working on a problem or anything, but let me ask you this question. For the amount of podcast episodes that we've done so far or the conversations that you and I have, can you feel my heart?
Absolutely. And I was telling you when we were talking about, because, how I say is like JJ came out of freaking nowhere, right? Like we met at the Ventura Women's Conference last year, very brief. And I got to see her speak, and I was like, wow. And she lived in Ohio. It was a cool connection. But it was very quick of us. Like, she came in like a freaking wrecking ball in that powerhouse, or, she, in the Ojai chapter. I think that's what it was, because you made the suggestion of do the circle. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let me do that. And it fucking transformed the entire event. And now we do it that way every single time. I'm very open. I'm here to listen. Like, fuck yeah, let's go. Um, oh, where am I going with that?
I asked about my heart, and you were saying I came
Oh,
in like a
yeah.
wrecking ball.
Yeah, I came in like a wrecking ball, powerful energy. You show up like a leader, and you own the place. And I love that, right? And what's cool is that I had only been really exposed to the leadership. Like, I'm gonna start or let's do a podcast, or you need a podcast. I'm like, I can't do a podcast. You're like, I'm gonna set it up. It's set up, it's done, everything's handled. I just show up. Um, so that was the energy I had experienced. So then when I had to communicate the other stuff where I was already feeling weird, and you were on the phone with me, and you said, I'm feeling tender, and you felt so like just soft energy. Like, I think I said, I want to hold you. Like, I do not want to harm you. I don't want to make you second guess who the fuck you are. And it was just like this, um like how I experience you now. You're still the badass, powerful, you're gonna fuck shit up. But you like kind of, I like, you felt like you let me in a little bit.
Well, and we're not talking about, I mean, we are talking about
Yeah.
some deep shit. And some of the most recent episodes, we kind of got deeper with people. And hopefully, if you guys like that, and please let us know, we'll go deeper. We've left only an hour with people that we interview, and it's turning out to be not enough time to go deeper if that's what you're interested in. I mean, I want to provide value, and I know Tani does too, but we also kind of want to be who we are and figure out what that is and get that groove going. So feedback is definitely we would like some from those of you that plan on being a part of this community and listening for a long time. If you're in and then out, I don't care what you got to say. But it's when I'm teaching on my show, what people will tell me how real I am, how authentic I am in all my groups. I share all my shit with them, everything I'm going through. Not in a not in not and I because it's not that often. Like, if I get triggered, I work through it. I do it in real time to show you what tools I'm using to work through this. I allow the emotions, I cry, I whatever. But I'm working it in real time so you see what it looks like, because I hope to model what healthy emotional uh, working out your stuff is, like processing emotions, which most of us don't do. We get triggered and we stuff them and we pretend. But I again, it's that I hope that I trust that the people who can feel me will feel me. And so the delivery, yeah, might be strong and intense. Absolutely. I am strong and intense, but it is all fucking heart, because I could cry in half a second. Like, you say one thing and my tears are already like the right there right now, right? Because I care, because I don't want people to have to suffer or struggle when they don't need to. And I want all of you. I'm not going to know who I'm talking to right now. I want all of you to love yourselves more than anyone else in this entire fucking world, because you're the only one who has to live with you for the rest of your life. And if you don't love you, I don't know how you can expect anyone else to love you. You have to do the work of loving yourself first. And that means, more than just performing for love for other people. And you'll get there, Tawny. You got time. You're doing a great job. And it's not, you'll be your version of that. You'll roar, you'll be able to have boundaries, and you're doing your all of our businesses grow us. My business continues to grow me. Fuck, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right? It's just an ebb and flow, but that's stable. Like, who am I, and what do I come back to, and what are my values, and what am I here for, and what is my zone of genius? What is my dharma? Like, know that shit, because it's what guides you through everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And us being able to have really awesome, hard, amazing combos, because I think that's the growth. And that's why we're, having all of these combos, sharing our stories, is it's normalizing, like, we're all human, we all got something. And dude, we don't need to change each other. I don't actually want you to change. I want you to be exactly who you are. It might do some fucking these women good, might do me so good. It gives permission. So then the next person that comes that's different and shows up differently, That's okay too. And we get to coexist. You get to be exactly as you are. I get to be exactly as I am. We're, you know, we have a lot of parallels too. So as much as we're very different, we're very alike. And so it's just that, like, wow, what happens in community if this was the normal? You know,
Well,
what
we
would
can, I don't know, maybe we can have a support group that's emotional based one time.
yeah,
Happy to
that would be
happy to put that together and see who wants to just come talk about their stuff, but in a way to process, not a way to dump. I don't want bitch sessions. It's not about. I
yeah.
don't need to hear. We don't need to generate some big momentum of negative stuff and blame, and we want to process. So maybe if anyone's interested in that of this group of VCBW, let us know because I mean I'd happy to put that together and see what that looks like and how we can learn from each other and grow with each other and give it a little try. But so this is our conversation on hard conversations. I'm sure we'll continue to dive into this. Is there anything else you want to add about this particular topic before we wrap up today's show?
Don't draw the line so fast. You know, for anybody that's listening in your personal relationships, business relationships, community, take a breath and figure out where your actions come from. Because, I think conversations, like, that's all it is people and convos, right? And then, yeah, there's all the other stuff, but I think there's so much room for possibility if we can regulate ourselves and then show up in conversation. What kind the kind of convos most people are having sometimes are based in survival fear, low grade energy. And I think there's a lot of room to start having conversations about possibility and collaboration and empowering and expansion. And you're still moving through hard shit. You're still a human, but it's held in a different context, and that allows other people, to experience their own safety and their trust. So that's kind of what I'm here for, and I think what JJ's here for. And just to serve as evidence of like what happens when you honor the fuck out of yourself and you're around the right people.
Yeah, and there are situations where it would have gone different, and then it would have potentially ended the situation, and that would have been fine too. I mean, not fine. It would have been sad because there's a lot of work that went into the front end of this. But whatever. It was my risk to take. I approached you and said I'd do it all, and let's do a podcast, and you don't have to do anything. I'll do all of it, right? Because I felt it. I was called to do it. Didn't necessarily want to do it. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we're doing it. I know it's already ideas are flying all over the place about all kinds of things. And honestly, I was running a mastermind every year for the last 5 years, and this was the first year I didn't do it. And so it is serving a need for me as I now realize, because I do like to talk about business. I love my passion is changing you inside and out, not changing you, but having you come to a place where you love yourself and you let go of all the bad habits and beliefs that have created the discomfort in your life and how to grow and expand beyond that. But I also love talking about business. I've been doing it for 20 fucking 4 years. Like I know a thing or two. And I was feeling like I wasted I'm like, oh my God, who am I gonna I need to talk about business. And so this is a great platform to add both of them in. So by default, this is divine timing. So thank you all for being here.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's somebody if somebody comes and says, "Hey, I have an idea for you. You should do it." Just say yes. And then be scared along the way. I kept telling her, I would voice note her all the time. I'm scared. I'm scared. And she's like, "You want to quit?" I'm like, "No, I just want to tell you I'm scared."
Yeah. And here we are. We didn't quit. In fact, you're like psyched.
I know. I know. I'm like, "Wait, I like this." No, I'm so grateful. So, again, this is what happens when you're down to say yes, show up, honor yourself. Cool things, magic, miracles come your way.
Yep. Look forward to seeing you on the next show. Don't forget to rate and review and share it with anyone who you think needs it. And if you're part of this community locally, we want to hear from you in terms of anything that you like that you want to hear more of, or things we've mentioned that sound like a good idea of things you'd like to try. So thanks for being here.